Welcome children in the third video of class 7 science chapter 1 nutrition in plants. So in today's video session we are going to see the revision of previous sessions. What we have learned in the previous video session that we are going to revise it quickly, then the revision of photosynthesis properly, and then some important points of the chapter we have to discuss, so that after that the chapter will be over and I can give you the worksheets to solve. So let's begin with the first slide, that is photosynthesis. So photosynthesis, we all have learned before also that photosynthesis is the process by which the green plants prepare their food. Food prepared in the plants is glucose, and to prepare that food, plant needs CO2, water, chlorophyll, and very most important, that is sunlight. Because without sunlight, photosynthesis cannot occur. So on the screen, you can see a picture in which these steps of the photosynthesis are given along with the diagram. So just have a look. The first point says that the plant, because plant need water, so from where the water comes for photosynthesis? So the plant draws water through its roots. Now we all know that roots are the parts of the plants which are present under the ground. So the function of the root is to absorb the water from the soil. Okay, so this water which is absorbed by the roots will be sent up to each and every part of the leaf through some special cells. So in this way water enters the plants. Now what else the plants needs for photosynthesis? Yes, that is CO2. Now how the CO2 will enter into the plant? So the leaves take the CO2 from the air, and which part on the leaves we have already studied, that is the leaves have very small pores present on them which are called stomata. So these stomata will take the CO2 from the air inside the body of the plant. Okay, and then the leaves are green in color and they have a green color pigment which is called chlorophyll. So the chlorophyll will trap the energy of the sunlight. This is the function of chlorophyll, that chlorophyll absorb the sunlight. So now the sunlight is trapped, carbon dioxide comes, water comes. So now what the plant will do? Now the plant uses the energy of sunlight. The plant will use the sunlight, and what the plant will do? Plant will convert CO2 and water into sugars. Okay, the sugars, glucose, which is formed in the plant. So CO2 and water which are absorbed, they will react together and they will form sugars. Formula of sugar is C6H12 and O6. Okay, so the glucose will be formed in the process, and a gas is released outside in this process, and that is oxygen. Don't get confused. In photosynthesis process, plants take CO2 inside and release oxygen outside. Whereas when the plants take respiration, when the plants breathe, they take oxygen inside and they give out CO2. Okay, so the plants release oxygen into the air, and then plant uses the sugars. Whatever food is prepared in the plant, that is used by the plant for its function. But the extra food which is left out is stored in the parts of the plant, not in the form of glucose but in the form of starch. Okay, so the extra food which is left in the plant is stored in the plant parts in the form of starch. I hope the complete process of photosynthesis is clear to you all. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide, that is again the equation of photosynthesis. Okay, so photosynthesis is the process in which plants release oxygen and they inhale CO2 in the presence of sunlight. You can see the equation given on the screen. CO2 stands for carbon dioxide. This is the formula for carbon dioxide, plus water. What is the formula for water? It is H2O. Okay, C here stands for carbon, O for oxygen, H for hydrogen. When both of them combine together, you can see on the arrow sun's energy is given, and downside chlorophyll green color pigment is also shown. Means CO2 and water combine together in whose presence? In presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. And then a new product, a new special food is prepared, that is sugars, that is glucose. Okay, and the formula for glucose or sugar is C6H12O6. Okay. Keep in mind that these numbers which are given C6, 12, 6, they are written as subscript. Okay. They have to be written at the lower side. They have not to be written as the complete number along with the symbols. And the gas released outside in this process is oxygen, that is O2. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Now, let's have a look on the revision points now. So, all organisms, they take food. This we have discussed in the chapter, that all organisms take food, they utilize it. Okay, I have explained you before also that utilization means the food will be broken down, the food will be digested, and energy will be given out. This complete process is called nutrition. So we take the food inside, the food gets broken down in our body, and we get energy. And that energy we use for doing our daily works. That energy is used for our growth, and that energy is also used for maintaining all our body parts. If we get some cut, then also those energy is used to cover it up. So for maintaining the body, for growth, for development, we need food, because food gives us the energy. The food is broken in the body and energy is given out. Okay, and for this we need oxygen. Breaking of the food is in presence of oxygen. We all know that for burning, we say the food is burned inside our body. For burning, which gas is needed? Oxygen. So if oxygen is not present, food is not burned and we will not get energy. That's why if you will not eat food for some 2 or 3 days, you will faint and you will fall down, because you're not getting, the food is not there to get burned. And if the food is not burned in the body, if the food is not broken down in the body, then energy is not released and the person gets fainted. So food is very important because it provides us energy. Okay, the next point of revision is that all the carbohydrates, vitamins, proteins, fats, minerals, water, they all are nutrients and they are very important for us. They all are present in the food, and the food which contain all of them in proper amount is called a balanced food. Okay, they all are very important for our daily life. Fine. Some This picture also shows that what are the healthy foods which we should eat. It's a fish, because fish is a source of protein. Then apple is a source of vitamin and minerals. Peas are the source of vitamins. Then maize, it gives carbohydrates. Okay, water. So they all are very essential part, because they all are nutrients. They all are helpful in maintaining our body and in our growth. Okay, let's have a look on the next important topic of the lesson. That is, there were two modes of nutrition: autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. The organisms which have autotrophic nutrition, they are called autotrophs, and the one who have heterotrophic nutrition, they are called heterotrophs. So who are autotrophs? Autotrophs are the organisms which make their own food. And what are heterotrophs? Heterotrophs are the organisms that cannot make their own food. They must obtain energy from outside sources. Means they take the food from someone else. They themselves cannot make their food. Okay. In autotrophs, the examples are plants, some protists, some lower animals, and some bacteria can also, blue, green bacteria can also prepare their food. Okay. Whereas heterotrophs includes the examples as animals, because all animals are heterotrophs. All the animals, including humans, cannot prepare their own food. Okay. Non-green plants, fungus is also heterotroph, because fungus cannot prepare its own food. Then some of the bacteria are also heterotrophic, because they cannot prepare their food. Okay. Let's have a look on the next slide now. Fine. These are some again some revision points, that plants use simple chemical substances like carbon dioxide, water, and minerals for synthesis of food. Plants need CO2, plant need water, and some of the minerals in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to prepare their food. Okay. Then chlorophyll and sunlight are essential requirements for photosynthesis. Without these two things, photosynthesis cannot occur. In During night time, there is no photosynthesis because there is no sunlight. Okay. Then stomatas. Stomatas are the tiny pores on the leaves. And very important, the oxygen gas is released in photosynthesis And this oxygen, which is released during photosynthesis by the plants, is used by all other living organisms for their respiration, for their breathing. So, from where the oxygen is coming? Actually, the oxygen is coming from the photosynthesis process which is going on in the plants. Therefore, this is the importance of plants. Why plants are important? Because they not only they provide us food, but they provide us oxygen also, and they also consume CO2. They also take inside CO2, so they purify the air. Okay. Okay. Now, the next important topic of the lesson was parasites and saprophytes. Okay, parasites are the organisms that they both of them cannot prepare their own food, but the difference here is how they get their food. So, parasites are the organisms that grow on the body of the other organisms. They grow on the body of the other organism, and the body on which they grow is the host body. Okay, and they get all the nutrients which they require from the body of the host. Okay, so the plant on which the parasite is present is the host body, and the plant which is present on the host body is called the parasite. Examples are cuscuta. Cuscuta is the parasite which is present on another plants. Then some of the orchids. Okay, orchids are the climbers which are present on other trees, tall trees. So they are also parasites. Then saprotrophs. Saprotrophs are the organisms which get their food, which get their nutrients from the dead organisms. Here is the difference. Parasites get their food from the other living organisms, whereas saprotrophs get their nutrients from other dead organisms. Okay, as you can see in the picture that a fungus is growing on a heap of garbage or on the log of wood, because that log of wood is a dead part of the plant. Okay, so they are getting their nutrition, they are getting their food from the dead part or the dead organisms. Okay, example here is fungus. Fungus is the non-green plant, and then some of the bacteria are also saprotrophs. Okay, I hope you are clear with this. Okay, next one is the guard cells. Okay, guard cells, as we have discussed, that stomata is a pore. Stomata is only a hole, it is not any cell, it's only a hole, it's only a pore. And the cells which are surrounding this pore are the guard cells. Okay. When the guard cells swell, when water enters the guard cells, they swell. And when they swell, the pore gets open. As you can see in the first picture, that is stomata opening. And when the water comes out of the guard cells will shrink. And when they shrink, the pore get closed. So we say that the stomata get closed. Okay. So these tiny pores or the stomata, they are surrounded by the guard cells, and these guard cells are bean shaped, you can say, or kidney shaped. Okay, fine. Let's move on to the very important topic of the lesson, that is starch. How to test the starch in the leaves. There is one question also in the NCERT textbook related to this. Now, starch, as I already discussed with you, that the extra food which is left in the plant is stored in the parts of the plant which we are eating as vegetables and fruits. So that form of food is called starch. They prepare glucose, but glucose is not stored. Glucose get converts to starch, and then it is stored in the form of that is stored in the parts of the plants. Okay, starch is also a type of carbohydrate. Now, starch is the stored extra food in the plants. Now, how to test it? There is a very beautiful test, how to test the starch, that whether the starch is present or not. See, presence of starch in leaves can be tested by iodine. Iodine is the solution. Iodine is the liquid which can test whether starch is present or not. Okay. So, what we have to do to do this experiment is a leaf is taken which is green in color as it has chlorophyll. Okay, if chlorophyll is present, that means the plant is preparing food. Now, what we have to do, we have to take a leaf as shown in the picture, fine, and then this leaf is boiled in chlorophyll. That is boiled in water to remove the chlorophyll. Okay, why we need to remove the chlorophyll? To de-starch the leaf. As we will boil this leaf in boiled water or hot water, what will happen? Its color fades. Color fades means it will completely get de-starch. Whatever starch was present in it will get over. Okay. Now after boiling, what we have to do, the same boiled leaf, now we have to keep in sunlight for 2 hours. Now when you will keep it in sunlight, what will happen? It will again start doing photosynthesis. When it will do photosynthesis, what will happen? Starch will again be present in the leaf, right? Now after 2 hours, what we have to do? We have to put a drop of iodine solution on it. So you can see the change in the picture shown here, that the part which was not covered with the black strip, which is having the chlorophyll, which is having the starch, will turn into blue color, blue black color. So this iodine, this is the iodine test, that when starch reacts with iodine, it gives a blue black color, right? So how the starch can be identified? Starch in the leaves can be identified by the iodine test. If iodine comes in contact with starch, it gives blue black color. A very simple experiment also we can do at home, that if we take potato, we all know that potato is very rich in starch. If you cut the potato half into a slice, and on the slice if you put a drop of iodine, there the complete spot will become blue black. It directly shows that potato consists of starch, because when iodine comes in contact with starch, it turns into blue color. Otherwise iodine is dark pinkish, or you can say purple in color, right? But when it comes in contact with starch, its color changes to blue black, which indicates that the starch is present. Okay. Okay, now moving on to the next topic, that is insectivorous plants. There's a question given in the NCERT textbook that insectivorous plants are green. See, insectivorous plants like pitcher plant, which eats the insects, right? They are also green in color. Fine. So if they are green in color, that means they can prepare their food. So if they can prepare their food, then what is the need to trap the insects? Then what is the need to eat the insects? This is a question. What is the reason behind it? Okay. So insectivorous plants are also green in color. Green in color, that means they have chlorophyll also. But the reason why they trap the insect is, these insectivorous plants are present in such soil where nutrients are lacking. The soil in which the insectivorous plants grow do not have much nutrients. So the plants do not get the complete nutrients. And to get all those nutrients which are lacking in the soil, what the plant do? The plant trap the insects. Then we have seen in the pitcher plant, in the back of that pitcher plant, when the insect sits, the lid gets closed and then the insect dies inside. When the insect dies, its body, the plant will secrete some juices, liquids, and those liquids will break the body of the insect, and then the nutrients which is present in the body of the insect, they are absorbed in the body of the plant. Okay. So the reason that why they trap insects, they trap the insects to get the nutrients which are not present in the soil in which they are growing. So to get those nutrients, they trap the insects, they kill the insects, they digest the insects, and then they get the nutrients from those insects. Okay, I think it is clear to you all. Now let's have a look what we have done till now, that is the summary. Children, this lesson is over, and after this I'm going to give you the worksheet which you have to solve in your notebooks. If you have fair notebooks, you can solve in that. Otherwise, if you have practice notebooks or rough notebooks, that also you can do it. Okay. So let's have a look what we have done in this chapter. So we did the revision in this part. Then what is photosynthesis, what are insectivorous plants, parasites, saprotrophs, stomata, then guard cells. Then we have learned some of the symbols also, that symbol for water is H2O, symbol for carbon dioxide is CO2, symbol for oxygen is O2, and glucose also C6H12 and O6. Then we have learned about nutrition, what are the modes of nutrition. Okay, so this was all about in the chapter 1, nutrition in plants. I hope you all have understood this. Please, before giving the test, watch the videos completely so that the lesson will be completely understood and you will not face any problem in solving the questions answers. Okay, so all of you, all the best for the worksheets given. tomorrow. Please watch the complete video, give the test, and complete the worksheets. Okay. Fine. Then we'll meet in the next video. Till then, bye bye.